my stuff ready.
Yeah, 9.
Let me know when you're live, please.
We are live, ma'am.
All right. Thank you so much, Kumar. A warm welcome to everyone on the panel and those who are going to be logging in and who are already logged in. May 8th, 2025 to 70 Carats group of superstars. I'm surrounded by the galaxy of shining stars of sisterhood, empowered and empowering ladies whose memoirs are featured in 70 Carats. And can each one of you kindly hold up your books, 70 Carats? A very warm welcome to each one of you. And Roopali, since Kavita is not here, who would you invite for our invocation today?
Kavita, who Eizkehal?
Kavita is not here, right? So who will do the
there
invocation?
Are two. We can ask Shalini to do it.
All right, Shalini, we request you to please start with a small prayer and over to you.
I'm going to give it a try. With all the dust flying around in the house, I have a bit of an allergy and a sore throat, but you'll have to pardon the fact if I end up croaking.
Sure.
Should I sing Shivoham?
Yes.
Please go ahead.
Please.
Most welcome.
Okay. Shivoham, Shivoham, Shiva Swarupam, Shivoham, Shivoham, Shiva Swarupam. Advaitamānanda Rūpam Arūpam Brahmoham Brahmoham Brahma Swarupam Chidoham Chidoham Sachidanandoham Shivoham 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 Manobudhyahankar Chittaninam Nacha Shrotrajivve Nacha Ghrananetre Nacha Vyoma Bhumi Natejo Navayu Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham Nacha Prana Sangyo Nave Panchavayu Nacha Saptadhatu Nava Panchakosha Navakpanipadam Nachopastapayu Chidananda Rupa Shivoham शिवोऽहम् न मे द्वेष रागो न मे लोभ मोह मदोर्नैव मेनैव मात्सर्य भावः न धर्मो न चार्थो न कामो न मोक्षः चिदानंद रूपः
बाबा ये बहुत डिफिकल्टी हो रहा है।
शिवोऽहम् न पुण्यं न पापं न सौख्यं न दुःखं न मन्त्रो न तीर्थो न वेदः न यज्ञः अहं भोजनं नैव भोज्यं न भोक्ता चिदानन्द रूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् न मे मृत्युशङ्का न मे जाति भेद पिता नैव मे नैव माता न जन्म न बन्धुर्न मित्रं गुरुर्नैव शिष्यः चिदानन्द रूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् अहं निर्विकल्पो निराकार रूपो विभूत्वाच्च सर्वत्र सर्वेन्द्रियाणां न चासङ्गतं नैव मुक्तिर्न मेयः चिदानन्द रूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् चिदानन्द रूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् शिवोऽहं 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 शिवोऽहम्
Thank you so much, Shalini. After this very beautiful invocation, we all are completely energized. Thank you so much, Shalini.
Thank you so
And
much.
very warm welcome to all the wonderful panelists today who have contributed to the beautiful anthology of memoirs. There are some stories which also happen to be about their mothers, but most of them are memoirs, an autobiographical writing. So happiness isn't a destination. It's a journey of choices, of smiles, of the friends. And that is what we are here today, a group of wonderfully joyous women who empower others around them, in addition to being empowered women and works of art who have nothing but wisdom to share with us. George Bernard Shaw had said, "You grow old when you stop laughing." So here we are surrounded by laughter and stories from these empowered women. Let me start with inviting Malashree Lal. Malashree Lal is a retired English professor with 21 books with a focus on women, including her work on folklore as in Chamba Achamba, Women's Oral Culture, and her engagement with mythology in Goddess Trilogy, In Search of Sita, Finding Radha, and Treasures of Lakshmi. Professor Malashree recently published Mandalas of Time, Poetry Anthology. She is currently a convener, English Advisory Board of the Sahitya Academy, and chair, English Advisory Board Bharatiya Gyanpeeth, and among other recognitions, she has received the Maharani Gayatri Devi Award for Women's Excellence, and her book Mandalas of Time is translated into Hindi and was released at Jaipur Literature Festival in 2025. In this memoir, she details her journey as a young girl as she progresses towards a brilliant career as an educator and author. And I just want to share a few words of hers before handing over the podium to her. Regarding the Mandalas of Time, she said, I have poured my feminist consciousness into the pages comprising words, the silences, and the margins. Several poems end in question marks because I wish to engage the reader in the queries raised, and I do not have an answer. Over to you, Malashree Lal.
Thank you very much for that generous introduction. And thank you, Roopali, and all the other people here and who are in the book for making me a part of this absolutely fascinating study. I think the first of its kind, where significant women in their senior years are looking back on their lives and coming out with their individual stories, which also collectively make Indian history of feminism. So, the first point that I want to make is that I grew up with a very fragmented identity, which I didn't know how to call it that till much later in my life. I come from a family with a pure Bengali lineage, but for generations, neither my father's side nor my mother's have ever lived in Bengal. So I grew up in Jaipur and was deeply enchanted and embedded in the culture of Rajasthan. But at home, we not only spoke Bengali, but I had an intrepid grandmother who was highly educated, one of the first graduates from Calcutta University, a lady who went on to ride bullock carts and go inspecting schools in the villages of Bengal. And then later on, went off to Rangoon because she married a man younger than herself. And they both were school teachers, became principals. However, jumping many years further, when my father settled into a career in the Indian Administrative Service in the Rajasthan cadre, we had our upbringing in Jaipur, including my grandmother who lived at home, and made sure that no matter how much Rajasthan surrounded me, I had to learn how to read, write, and speak Bengali fluently. But I did that only at home. And very much later, I realized, and Rupali would have been witness to some of this when I came to Delhi University, I was not only carrying a kind of a baggage of an identity crisis, am I Bengali, am I Rajasthani? But I created and jumped into a third identity, which was Delhi. And Delhi, as we all know who live in the city, has no individual cultural identity. It's a city of migrants, or one can say it's a cosmopolitan city. So, this kind of a fragmented identity, I was struggling with it till actually I wrote poetry. My first book of poems was published only 2 years ago, by which time I had crossed my 70th year. But that's where I found the solution, because it then came to me that the fragmented identity is actually a great advantage. So long as you don't feel that fragmentation is a bad word. And as we know, all feminists survive and get empowered by reversing the hierarchy of language. What other people think is burden, you make that into an advantage. If other people think it's an obstacle, you make it into a triumph. So fragmented identity is nothing to be worried about. In fact, it's good to have a fragmented identity and to relate to several contexts. My second point, that when I came to Delhi University and taught there for 45 years, I decided that in the classroom, I was going to try and create an awareness that Indian feminism has a different trajectory and history than Western feminism. And again, Roopali has been a part of that system.
I think
Such
she
writers,
froze.
Eileen Showalter, etc., as theoretical frameworks for feminism. And you were supposed to impose that on whatever Indian literary text you studied. So my first book had a very long and a detailed chapter on Sarojini Naidu because I saw her as a foremother of Indian feminism. Love for somebody. Her parents sent her away to England. She did not pick up a degree. She came back and married this person. She was the mother of several children with whom she had a very close contact. She ran a household. She was a poet. When she joined politics, she was advised by people like Mahatma Gandhi and others to say, you have to choose between poetry and politics. You can't do both. She said, watch out. I can do both. And she did. So again, women
Wonderful.
are multitaskers. And let's not say that it's a difficult thing to do. Let's say it's a challenging thing to do. And we can overcome that challenge. In fact, gain a lot from it. So she remains the foremother. I come to the next generation, just to skip and jump over some centuries, not centuries, I would say about half a century. The first wave feminism, second wave feminism, I think our generation belongs to perhaps what I would call the third wave feminism in India, because we had the women who were in the national movement. Then we had leaders like Veena Mazumdar and Mohini Giri and Leela Dubey and people like that. And then our generation, when we became, I was director of women's studies at Delhi University for 10 years, in addition to multitasking as professor of English in the largest department of the university, English department. But that was okay. So our generation was the third. The country to the inequality, the book called Towards Equality. What did we had to fight tokenism? At least that's my surmise. Of all the years that I was in Delhi University, in my senior part of my career, where I was also an administrator in the Delhi University, I agreed to the administrative work because I wanted to get into the system and fight tokenism. On finance committees, a woman is not supposed to know anything about budgeting. So I decided to talk on budgeting. In selection committees, a woman was not supposed to know about science because I was an English professor by tag. I decided to ask questions on science. So each time you are aware of if you're aware of the fact that it's a tokenism, you can fight it. And fight it in a way women fight, which is through quiet, gentle persuasion and quality output. That's the only way to fight against a system. Let me come to the third and the last point, and that is that when we come to the concept of sisterhood, as this session started, our generation, I think, was still individually fighting. I think today we are fortunately in a situation where there is a collective consciousness about feminism, and that has been a great help towards the more senior years of my time at Delhi University and in my lifetime. That now I have a community that fights with me, or I belong to a community that can put up not only a good fight, but just assume that we are not only equal, but we are better than you. And we prove it to the world. And on that note, I will end by reading two poems because Rupali and I talked a little about it from Mandalas of Time. So it's never too late to start being a poet or start doing anything. I'm going to read two poems, very different. The first one was written during Corona, and it is about the woman migrant worker. The reason being, newspapers were full of the migrant workers who were leaving Delhi and trudging for miles. But I said, where is the woman migrant worker? There's not a word about the woman migrant worker. and there were stories that were coming out. So I wrote this short poem called The Woman Migrant Worker, which is actually based on a news story.
Okay.
So, jobless and with families to feed, the migrant workers trudged towards a mirage called home. Did a woman choose when her man decided to walk? From Nashik to Satna was 1,000 kilometers. Shakuntala's journey, her womb ripened by 9 months, was not anyone's concern. Birth is destined by the stars, they said. The mother's shrieks of pain by the roadside took none by surprise. Touching Mother Earth and believing in her God, Shakuntala took an interval in the long walk home. A newborn joined the walk a few hours later. The mother's crumpled womb was not anyone's concern. So that's one, which is
Heart-wrenching.
about public consciousness, etc. Thank you. And the second poem that I'm going to read is called Ardhanarishwar. It's the first poem in the collection because I believe that Indian feminism, if we go back to our ancient texts, there is a very powerful tradition of the feminine divine. And there is also a very powerful tradition of equality between woman and man. And Shalini ji started with the Stuti to Shiva.
Invocation.
So this is an appropriate point for me to um, uh, end my part of the session. So this is the first poem that I published in here because I wanted people to be aware that it's not the West that has given us any vocabulary that is appropriate for us. We have our own vocabulary and our own lineage, but we have to, as feminist scholars, writers, thinkers, activists, we have to make people aware of it. So I will just end with that poem. Ardhanarishwar. Indivisible unity, Parvati and Shiva, forever entwined, woman and man interdependent, infused with traits of each other. The softer left lineament draped in finery, a muscular right stretched over taut skin, artistry overlaying a deep philosophy of a shared destiny, symbols associated with power and grace, but not attributed to a dichotomous gendering. Sages, sculptors, storytellers knew the eternal truth that form belies essence much of the time. Masculinity and femininity are the same word. Read them in reverse to denote the other. But that too is an illusion. In creation, there is only one, Ardhanarishwar, the God who is both woman and man, ubiquitous, limitless reminder of equality. Thank you.
How beautifully depicted is this poem as well. The first one was heart-wrenching, and we could see that 9-month pregnant mother delivering the baby and the rest of the world unconcerned, full of their own concerns. Malashree, so beautifully rendered, lovely poetry. And I want to ask you, your grandmom in her own way led by example in those days and married someone younger from Rangoon, and your previous generation and your generation, how would you say the feminism is different, and how do you see it today versus what you want next to happen?
Feminism is different because my grandmother came from a reformist Bengali family of the 19th century. So she didn't face family opposition for what she did. There's a larger story. There were 6 sisters. And their father offered university education to all six. Three
Wow.
of them went to college. So there was family support, and that was important. And she became a widow when she was just about 40 and refused to come back to Calcutta under a family fold, brought up two teenage children till they became adults in Rangoon. Rangoon was then part of undivided India.
Yes.
So
Yes.
she was an amazing woman in herself and supremely alone and very experimental with her life. When we came to live in Rajasthan, she taught herself Hindi.
Mm.
And I remember groups of women just coming to her. I don't know what they used to talk about. Uh, but I could hear the word harap me. Those who know Bengali will know that it means bad woman, which means they were talking about women who had gone astray, etc., etc. And my grandmother, by then good 70 plus, absolutely carrot material, decided that she was going to help with whatever was being done for the kharap me to make them follow me, whatever. Where do I want to see next in feminism? We are seeing a lot of diversity in the younger generation. There's one lot that wants to run to the West, which is considered to be so successful, and there are institutional and commercial uh, people and who are pushing them in that direction, a study abroad kind of thing. There's another lot that is very proud of its Indian heritage, and there's more and more turning towards your regional language. It has skipped two generations, but there are many of them going back. So translation has become such a wonderful industry now almost that it has helped those who do not know the original language. And there's many who are now trying to learn the original language so that they go back to their cultural heritage. Politically and collectively, I'm afraid there's a lot of fragmentation that I notice.
Mhm. Thank you so much, Malashree, for your presence and your sharing of your poetry and your insights. Lovely meeting you today for the first time, and I hope I will be meeting you again very soon.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
I look forward to meeting you again and all of you for that matter.
Yes, thank you
Thank you
so
so
much,
much.
Malashree. I mean, it's been such a pleasure to have you here. And, when I was listening to you and what you call a fragmented life, you were talking about the way I grew up in the same way, Bengali, never having lived in Bengal, and being brought up in a very colonial setup because my father was in the armed forces. So sometimes we just never went to Bengal. We didn't know what it was. But I would like to read, Rupa, before we go on to Saroj,
Sure.
the
Please, yes.
dedication to this book, especially because, I thought that, all of us who are in our, our carrots, 70 carats, and it's a CARATS. Many people are thinking it's carrots. So, and firstly, thank you, Malashree. You're the first one who contributed to the book, and I feel so, honored and grateful. So this book is dedicated to the parents, grandparents, and guardians, to the foster parents and step parents, to the honorary parents of the extraordinary women whose stories lie amongst its pages, a testament to their unwavering support, enduring love, and unwavering belief in the limitless potential of their daughters. Their guidance, sacrifices, and encouragement have illuminated our path, empowering us to defy norms, pursue education, and shape our destinies with courage and conviction. They laid the foundation upon which we built lives of resilience, purpose, and inspiration. Their legacy lives on in every page of this book, honoring the profound impact of parental guidance on the journey of empowerment and transformation. So we are also going to hear stories of mothers, and we're going to hear of Saroj. And as I mentioned, that I met Saroj by accident during Durga Puja. I think the goddess Durga wanted to bring us together, and she's a remarkable woman. She has, at the age of 92, she travels. She meets. She has this. She can tell us how to keep relationships, how to keep family relationships, and how to live your life. So, Rupa, you can go ahead with the program.
Thank you so much to you, Roopali Sircar, the co-editor with Pushpa, who I think could not make it today being not well. So Pushpa, you are also in our thoughts today. You and Roopali did a great job co-editing a wonderful, wonderful anthology of memoirs by these extraordinary women right now I'm surrounded and blinded by. So inviting another woman extraordinaire, Saroja Srinivasan. She followed in her father's footsteps, studied veterinary science, and married a veterinarian. At the young age of 31, tragedy struck, and her beloved husband died of massive cardiac arrest, leaving her with 3 boys. Her life of struggle was softened with a government job. She further added a degree in library science to be able to help research students. Today, in her early 90s, Saroja travels, writes, loves meeting friends and relatives, attends music concerts and spiritual discourses. Her contribution to her field of work and her joie de vivre is intense and immense. Her memoir is an inspiring story of a woman who found her way to live a complete life as a professional and a single parent. So, Saroja ji, a warm welcome. And I want everyone to know Saroja's contribution in this anthology of memoirs has made her into a celebrity. So tell her, what was your brother's reaction when he read it, and how do you keep your family relationships so beautifully warm and fuzzy and intact? Over to you. A warm welcome, Saroja ji.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much to all of you. So nice to talk to you all and see you all. I'm very happy. I started at the age of 31 when I got this sudden shock. I couldn't bear the thing. Then I decided that I have to do something because I didn't work before marriage. I just 19 I was married. Then in 31 everything was over with 3 children. So I was housewife. And after that, gradually, when this happened, I got just a job in the same institute, Indian Veterinary Research Institute, Nagar, which is in UP, Bareilly. So gradually I started. I thought going research this thing, everything I cannot do. I have to look after my children. My youngest was 3.5, 4 years, and the eldest was 9. So I thought I cannot all the 3 managing. But fortunately, I had always good friends who were fully supporting me in general thing. If anything I used to meet friends with, always I had a lot of friends. In that, first one is Mrs. Kavita. Her husband was cotton leader, and she was a very good friend of mine. She told me, and I also was thinking, I'm not going to either in-laws place or my parents, because my brothers were studying in in-laws side also. They were all studying. So I should not be a burden to anybody. That I decided. At the same time, my friend told, you forget about everything, going anywhere. You stay in here. I will start a school, and then you can join there. I told her, I will think over. By that time, the institute director, because my father was a veterinarian in the same institute, he was a Rao Sahib in the British time. He found the research of foot and mouth disease in the animals. So he was a very famous person, and my husband also, he was in poultry and all that. So he immediately the same within a week, he told anytime you come and join the institute. So I decided I'll join. And that Mrs. Kavita told, whatever is maybe, you stay. We are all here to support. She has 6 children. So she told, we are all here. Why do you worry? Our children, your children are already friends. So we can manage. Nothing to worry. Nothing. She was the first person who gave the full confidence. And I also decided before it. So accordingly, I decided and started. April 7th, my husband passed away. 1st May, I joined the office. I told I'll join. At that time itself, my director told you join the library because he was a scientist. You are also a scientist, you can join. So I decided to join. And at that time itself, I decided I'm going for further study. My friends, South Indian friends, scientists were there who told, whatever you want to do, we will support you. We are all here to help you. So what I did, I served for 3 years. After that, I took education studies leave, left my 2 children. My youngest one, my mother took away. She told, for all the children you cannot keep and manage. So youngest one was taken from my mother was keeping, and first and second one. The friends told, we will look after, you can go for library. I told, I want to go for library science, for other students I can guide at least. This scientific or research day and night I cannot do. So I decided that. I went to Calcutta University. And fortunately, the house where I was staying, that was also Dr. Miss Ganguly. He was an engineer who was my father's dearest friend in institute. He told, you are not vacating the house, you will be here. You do whatever you want to do. I am for your children, I am the grandfather. I'll be here. So I had, from the beginning, Bengali Guru friends in such a way that they are the full support. And fortunately, this book, writing itself, Rupa, I met in the Durga Puja. And I thought there is some relation between Pichile Janam ka hota hai na, like that. Rupa and I became, we were talking it just for a few minutes, but in that itself, everything came out. And we started, the book has come, this thing has come out, my auto. This is God's Durga Ma's blessings only. After that, gradually, my parents could not come because brother was studying. My in-laws also the same thing. Gradually, but I decided I am not going for till my children come up. I won't go anywhere. And gradually, I did my education. I did my studies on the vacation. When I went on a study leave, my children were looked after by Mrs. Kaviraj and Dr. Subramanian. Another, all were going in central school, army school only. So they studied, all the three came up. But I have never ever exposed anything I have expressed to children because they should not get depressed or anything. Father is not there in that way. But our institute was such a place where they had a good studies, good friends, and at that time, and everybody used to inquire, and as I was a librarian there for all over India and abroad also, from foreign also, students used to come. So I learned language, Telugu, Malayalam, English, Bengali, everything, all these languages I know. So I had very convenient to contact anybody, talk to anybody, have friends with anybody. And I was a hostel warden for ladies hostel. And in that also we had so many students who used to come from all places. And few students still now I am having friends. Though I am 92, but still I have the contact with those students. And with all my relatives also, I am always, I move about here and there. Whenever I took children or gradually came up, when I started staying alone, I told them, you have to look after yourself. I have done my job. Now you have to take care of yourself. And I used to go with my Bengali friends to all the places, pilgrimage places, and every places. So I had so many, every caste I have a friends, Kashmiri, Bengali, South Indian, Telugu, and now also I am continuing to have the same. I move about very often. Whenever an opportunity comes, I cannot stay in one place. I move about here also. Now my brother's family, sister's family, and Mama's family all are there. Everywhere I go and meet all the people, friends. And for anybody, any help, I am always with them. I go for help. My in this period is my mama's daughter. Mama was in Rampur Nawab's this thing. So his son was with me for studying. My youngest brother was with me. I was keeping with me. He was also studied with me. The moment when they saw read the book, they were really so much. They cried. They were so moved because they know whatever I suffered and whatever problems I had. There were so many talks, so many things were going on. Everything, I never bothered for anything. Only my friends and every student used to come to my place. Any help, madam, I'll come. I'll do. That way I had all. God is so great. One door closes, the other door opens. That is practically in my life. Everything I used to do, and night shift, any shift, I have never refused. I was so happy with that. And in the office also, because I am Carnatic music, and I learned Bengali music, and then Hindi, everything I learned in this period. And in the school, in any program in the institute, annual day, students, this thing, in everything I used to give my music concerts. All used to like it. And Ganguly, I told you how soon he taught me full Bengali, Ravindra Sangeet and all that I learned from him. Daily evening when I used to come back, he used to sit, you have to learn now. Because he used to make my mind so peace that music was the main thing. And classical, our institute. So in South Indian, we have any function, festival, everything. Wherever I go, I used to give songs. In that way, till now, I am a Chinmaya Mission member, so I always go to the music concert in that, and for music programs there, and the mission that also makes me very peaceful, and mentally I feel so happy to go to such places where with everything. This no problem, nothing. That way I am having till now. God is great.
Thank you so much, Saroja
I'm
ji, for such
having
a
I'm
wonderful
having
share.
till now the same thing. And the students who were in IVRI hostel warden, that girls are also have a private practice in Delhi, in Ghaziabad and everything. So I go to them also, they also come to me. So in that way, my professional this thing also I continue to have till now with all Bareilly place and abroad also. And many students who went
Fantastic.
abroad, they also are still in contact with me. So I am really having my peaceful life. And mission and all that philosophical this thing, Gita, Rama, and whatever all this thing, I continue. This is my life.
Thank you
Saroj
so
has,
much, Saroja
Saroj
ji.
has become a
Beautiful.
celebrity in her family, her
Huh?
grandchildren, and you're a celebrity in your family. They
Yes.
all wait to listen to her. And
Yeah.
70 Carats, Memoirs of Indian Women, has
No.
brought to us a person like Saroj
Yes.
who,
Really, really.
imagine, yeah.
Yes. In Bangalore, when I went this time, my granddaughter was telling me she has one son. Oh, my child has also come in your book. So nice party. Grandmama party. So nice party. I'm so happy. My child name is also there. She was telling. All were so happy. And everybody liked the book. And my brothers are all on tears they were. My cousin brother, whoever stayed with me, studied all were so much moved. My sons were very happy. My daughter-in-law, who is also a writer, she's in Dubai. She was saying, you are a big star. I told, oh, don't worry. Nothing like that. It is because of Rupali I met in Durga Puja. That goddess is the main person who gave everything. Some blessing is there, that's all.
You're a remarkable
But I
person,
never
Saroj.
miss Durga Puja till now.
It's so lovely to have the likes of Saroja as a part of this beautiful anthology, 70 Carats. And as pointed out, not the carrots as in carrot and the donkey, but carats as in gold. So thank you so much for shining bright our golden Saroja ji. Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Rupali, thank you very much, Rupali.
Thank you.
For
Thank
all.
you.
Thank you. I want to meet you. Let me try.
Yeah, no, I'll do that. We'll, I think, get together. All of us who live in
Yeah.
Delhi, who come to Delhi, we'll meet. I
Yes,
think
you do that. Yes.
Malashree, under your pilkuri, what tree is that? You have a special tree in your house, no? Under
Yeah,
the,
yeah. The
Definitely.
Mandalas of
Definitely.
Time is dedicated to the poets who meet under the Pilkhan tree. We meet once in 3 months.
tree, okay.
Yes,
Pilkhan
you
tree.
have
And
to.
you're all welcome to join. It's very informal.
Mm.
And there's a huge, gigantic tree in the garden. And it gives us a wonderful sense of being like little sort of cherubs under the shelter of nature.
Yes.
And
How lovely. This
we
reminds me of
we have a
Rupali's endeavor
very,
of
very
Betak.
informal session of about two and a
We
half
should, we
hours,
must
about
meet,
15,
yes.
20
Yes, we
people,
should all
that's all.
definitely meet once.
And everybody reads.
So
Sounds
nice.
wonderful. Thank you
So,
so much, Saroja ji, Malashree. And Rupali, we don't see Kavita, but she's there. So I will invite
yes,
Kavita
yeah.
all the same. So Kavitha Wadwa, the youngest amongst 6 siblings, was born in 1949. It was a time when middle-class family was struggling to fight bruises of partition and displacement. She grew up in small towns of Punjab till she finished secondary education and joined college in Chandigarh. A brilliant student, merit and scholarship holder throughout, pursued her studies in this prestigious institution in the field of food and nutrition. And that was in Panipat as a lecturer in home science in 1968. Later, she completed her master's in English and a diploma in evaluation methodology. She has put in over 4 decades of impeccable service and retired as the vice principal. She raised a group named Health Awareness Club that worked towards spreading awareness regarding health, hygiene, nutrition by interacting with people, delivering lectures, and putting up exhibitions in neighboring villages and slums. She was honored by service clubs, Rotary, Inner Wheel and Lions, besides India International Friendship Society and International Publishing House, with several awards, including Best Citizens of India Award, Shiksha Ratan Puraskar, Bharat Jyoti Award, Rashtriya Gaurav Award, Indira Gandhi Shiromani Award, and Glory of India Award. She's authored 3 textbooks. She regularly contributed in Hindustan Times, DAV's Holistic Health, Dainik Bhaskar, and Prevention India. Besides teaching, which is her first love, she loves singing, reading, English fiction, and embroidering and arranging cut flowers. So a very warm welcome, Kavita, who has been a university topper and is a singer. We would love to hear from you about writing your memoir and how you're feeling about it. Over to you, Kavitha Wadwa.
Hello, everybody. I think my camera is not on and I can't do it on my own. I've tried it so many times, but it's not functioning, I think. And I can't even hear all of you properly, but I am attending the meeting. Anyways, what I want to tell about is that my personal journey is not very spectacular. I am an ordinary looking person from a very ordinary middle class family, born and brought up by them in small towns of Panipat, of Punjab. And in spite of all this, I think I have done reasonably well in my life. The credit for all this goes to my parents. My father was a strong-willed person, and he had very strong conviction about regarding the education of his children, be they be boys or girls. It didn't matter for him. Even the girls' education was very important, and he really believed in our potential. So when he found that I was good in studies, he really pushed me on and did all his best to give me as good uh, education as was possible. So after doing my graduation in home science, I could not get into MSc for foods and nutrition because I was a little underage at that time. And by the time I came of age, uh, my family circumstances somehow became such that I couldn't afford to leave my job and join an institution and be some more burden on my father. So I continued with the job, and about the job, of course, I have written in my memoirs that I was doing quite well, and my seniors were quite happy with me. I had their confidence, I had their appreciation, and as I grew in my hierarchy, they started giving me very important um, responsibilities, and I did well in them. That is how I reached up to the level of vice principal of that college towards the end of my service. Now, why I wrote this memoir, actually, I stopped working during the time of COVID. And after that, I didn't have any academic activity. I was missing it, of course. My vision sort of got compromised because of a very rare problem, rare genetic disease. And because of that, I had to stop writing write-ups that I was contributing to magazines and newspapers. So I was missing academic activity when I met Roopali one day, and we had just shifted to Noida recently, and she was as I was coming to the entrance of my house. I saw her passing by, and she was going upstairs. I just wanted to say hello to her, so I called and asked if I could help her with her bags and the stuff. She immediately turned back smilingly, and we exchanged our introduction. It was then that she talked about the book, and she said, "You are Kavita, and do you write poetry?" I said, "No, I don't write poetry. I like to sing poetry." Then she said, "Okay." She told me about the book, and she said, "Okay, can you contribute to it?" I like the idea, but I was a little short of time at that time. My husband had had a fall and a fracture, and I was really busy with that. But in spite of that, I said, okay, I'll do it. And another point why I hesitated was because I had never done creative writing. I was not a person of literature. I was a person of science. So whatever writing I did, that was conceptual, and that was based on scientific facts. So I told her I will write, but then you will have to do the polishing. She said, "No, I am not doing any polishing or anything with whatever you give, but you try and give it to me." So I wrote whatever is in the book. Now, I want to add one thing to my message that I have already conveyed for the parents as well as the girls, the younger girls of this era. I want to just emphasize that parents should focus on their education. Parents should focus on making the girls self-sufficient, self-reliant, and economically independent. That will, of course, pay towards that will secure their future quite well. But what I really want to add now is that it is very important that parents try and imbibe good values in their children. What I have noticed, children of today, they are becoming quite arrogant. They are in the name of being modern and in the name of being overconfident. They are becoming arrogant, and they are not they are not having any value for the traditional our religious as well as social traditions, and that is why most of the marriages are failing, because girls feel that in the name of feminism they forget the value of tradition. I think they should always appreciate that and have respect for those values, because our Indian values are, I think, they are very good, and we should not run after the Western ways of living. Thank you.
Roopali, you want to share your experience about Kavita and your relationship, how you got her into this book?
Yes, thank you so much, Kavita, because when I asked you, I didn't even know you. And I know you so well now that you have written your memoir, and you are going through a very difficult time because your husband had met with a very bad accident, and you have, serious problem with your, with your eye. But the fact that you wrote it, and you have so much to say and tell us, has enriched this book. And I'm very, very honored and grateful, and all of us very happy that there's a legacy, This is a legacy, and, Professor Malashree Lal has been so encouraging. The kind of things that you have written sometimes, Malashree, to me about the book, because after getting it done, I was wondering, did I do the right thing? But I think now when I look at it and I read the stories, it's so inspiring. My daughter was so inspired, and she said she's written an epilogue to the book, and she's written at the end of the book, she's there. So I want her here next time. So thank you so much, Kavita. We're all friends now. We're all sisters. And our feminism is one of inclusiveness, of, it's different, as you mentioned. It's different. I grew up with Malashree in the university. I learned so much from you, Malashree, when we ran the Women's Development Center, and the way
I'm
you
sorry, I can hardly hear you.
Mm.
I can hardly hear anyone.
Okay, doesn't matter.
Anyways, I'll continue with it.
Others, yes, others can. So thank you
Thank
so
you in
much. And
any case, Kavita.
we go
Thank
on
you
to
for
the next
coming.
person.
Yes. So unfortunately, Dr. Sunil Kaushal has a blackout and in Chandigarh, and so she's logged off. And we started with Shalini's beautiful invocation, another lady extraordinaire with multi-interests, multi-dimensional persona. She has a diploma in acting from New York Academy of Theatrical Arts. She's acted, assisted in number of plays and directed them. She has a degree in business management, which she calls as a one-time fad, and she studied English literature and philosophy, and she says it awakened in her a thirst for mysticism, an urge to explore beyond the world of perceptions, pluralities, senses, and impermanence, a spark that would blossom into a beacon of light. So music, as we know, is something she is endowed with and gifted with, and she sings beautifully, and she has eclectic taste across genres, and she has an album of devotional songs called Arpanam. Painting is another passion of hers, and she dabbles in paints and colors that fascinate her. Creativity she attributes to her parents, who both are writers. She enjoys poetry and prose, both in Hindi and English, and she's deeply philosophical, and she has multiple anthologies in both languages. She's a certified Reiki master, a committed spiritual seeker on the path of truth. I invite you, dear Shalini, to please share your story, this time your memoir, your biographical, your autobiographical writing that you've shared with 70 Carats. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Rupa. And thank you so much for this most generous introduction. But I still feel that when Roopali asked me to write for this memoir, I immediately decided to write about my mother, Shanta Sinha. And it's so much easier to do that because I felt that she had a life which was perhaps truly extraordinary. But I feel my life has been nothing out of the ordinary. There's been no spark of brilliance. There's been nothing. But I feel that each life on this earth is unique in its own way, and it has its own intrinsic beauty. And it's actually unfolds into a karmic cycle which you're meant to be living through, and I guess as a result evolving. So I was born in Gaya, and I was brought till my school. I was in Patna, went to a usual convent school, and led a very, very sheltered life. And we grew up with in a joint family, so imbibed a lot of the values, and living together in with grandparents, with uncles and aunts, and like the house was always full. And but after my school, I went off to the US because my father was a visiting professor there. So those 2 years were there, and I would like to say about my parents, I think whatever I am today, whatever, I just feel that I'm an extension of theirs. So I come from a family of academicians. My father was the Vice Chancellor of Magad University, a Fulbright scholar, a man of varied interests. He was a writer, wrote in English, and a person who was very far-sighted, and I think, lived way beyond his times. And I had a mother who was very traditional. She was a very sensitive writer, a noted writer at that in Hindi. And so my journey, I grew up with my parents being writers. So they were always, house was always teeming with writers, and of whom, of course, at that point of time, I had no interest. And now when I look back and I feel that there were so many stalwarts there, and for me, it didn't really matter that much because, it was not, at that time, I think we were too young to understand what was happening. So journey began when we went off to the US and got convinced, my father convinced me into doing dramatics, which I thought was really not my forte, and I was too shy and too introverted a person. And I think studies and academics was really my interest in life. But a year, I think a term in the New School for Social Research was where I started. And after 6 months, I think my father convinced me to join this New York Academy of Theatrical Arts, and which was in any case the most difficult task. And I still have memories which has been so deeply etched into my mind, into my heart. And as I speak to you today, I feel that I'm back again on that very first day on the stage, there and was asked to talk about myself. And I find that there's not really much to talk about, but I feel I'm still standing on that stage. And, you know, in one sentence, my life finished. I mean, I finished my introduction and I just waited for the ground to open so that I could just be swallowed. But that was the beginning of my very shy journey and thrown into, you know, like into that huge stage and spotlights and what have you, everything. But from there, then, you know, like it was a door opening into the world of theater, which became a great passion. And acting became one of my truly most wonderful and treasured pastime. And I think because I was different coming from India, so I always got roles to play from Tennessee Williams, Glass Menagerie, and Hello from Bertha. So I always got these very, very sensitive roles to play. And it's something which was an awakening for myself, because from that shy, introverted person, I just came out of that shell. And that, you know, like, I think I blossomed a little bit over there, but academics was always my main interest. So came back to, my parents were coming back, and I had an admission in Franklin and Marshall College with full scholarship. But I think I was always a very patriotic person, and I think India always beckoned. And so I was back in India and joined Miranda House in Delhi for a couple of years. And one fine holiday when I came for during the Puja holidays, my parents had fixed up my marriage, and then I landed up with a marriage in December, that same few months later. And I was transported into the tea gardens, you know, a completely different environment from where I was, and a marriage into a very regimental family of army. So it was like from a bohemian lifestyle with my parents, you know, to into this very regimental, very, very different kind of an environment. And that too into a tea garden, right from New York into a garden, you know, which was like 9 members in the club, and, you know, a totally alien atmosphere where people were into their Malibaris, and that's a kitchen garden, tennis, golf, and we lived a very colonial life. Of course, I loved the lifestyle. But it was somewhere which I felt like I didn't really fit in. But from there, I developed a love for nature. And I think endless time on hand. So with that, I think, you know, all my painting and writing, all of that, I think, you know, blossomed from there. And children were all, I have 4 children. And again, you know, I had to part with them at a very young age, because Assam and the tea gardens, you know, there were not many schools there, which were good. So they all went off to public schools. And so there was endless time on hand to develop into whatever, you know, like it had to, there was times to keep yourself busy. And of course, you know, like, I think times where, you know, we partied, and, you know, like it was a lifestyle which was very social. And yet, you know, I landed up in another tea estate where we were near a Dig Boy, and then I joined the theater group. So again, you know, my acting came up to the fore, and, you know, like did many, many plays there. And it was one fabulous time we had. But so it all started from there. And then, you know, finally we left. And I think Assam is in my blood, because I think the longest time I've spent is in Assam, in the most beautiful places. And I still feel that Brahmaputra runs into my brains. And people ask me where I am from. And my first impressions is that, yes, I am from Assam, because that's the maximum time I've spent. And from there, my husband retired, and we moved to Calcutta. And it's been like 25 years that I have been here. And I guess this is home to me. home to a very cultural center, a home where, like I think Calcutta in many ways, I think it's like New York, which I hated in the beginning, but then again, I learned to love it. And I think it grows on you. All the Broadway theaters, all the Greenwich Village, Bob Dylan, that became part of my youth. Joan Baez, Bob Dylan, protest songs, and all of that. So when we came here, in between, my father passed away when I was 26. So that was the time most difficult, because I spent a lot of time with my mother in Patna, and actually just filled in where my father had left. So there was one brother, 13 years old, and 3 sisters to be married off. So my life became, like at 26, I suddenly grew up into a figure which was a mother and father to all my sisters and brother, and to my mother. And life from there went on like that. And from there, when we came to Calcutta, life transformed when I met my Guruji. And it was a transformation, meaning that the first time we met, I felt that, like I had known him for forever. And life changed into, from the partying and from that very social, hectic lifestyle to meditations, to Upanishad classes. And it was a transformation of sorts. And
The Shalini I know, who I met and interacted with while you were in India, when you came to the US, is this very serene, grounded, humble, sweet, gentle, spiritual being. Tell me how the journey has been, and currently what is it you are planning to do? Because I do know you have a few things up your sleeve, including your mother's book and your own book. Do tell us about your current plans.
Well, I wrote since I was a teenager, some protest songs and things like that. And then I think as I wrote, but it was a very cloistered kind of a creative, the creativity, which was a very private thing. And it was just with me. And I think it's when I came to Calcutta in the last 3-4 years, when I met Roopali, and I think I felt that it was an instant connect with her too, because I felt that with some people, I'm sure that there's a past life connection, because, you meet and you feel like you've known them, and you just are so comfortable with them. And it was Rupali who put me on to Kavya comedy, where it also started my Hindi writing, because I never wrote in Hindi. So I started writing in Hindi from there. And I never wrote prose, by the way. I had written a play while I was in New York, and it was enacted, but I think it was nothing great. It was just one of those things, like as I say, like a one-time fad, or like a one-time preoccupation. And when Rupali told me to write these memoirs, I was just thinking, I've never written prose and I would never be able to do it. But it was, I think, all the way, it was her encouragement. It was her, literally prodding me is the word I think I would say, because I was always trying to wriggle out of it. But
Shalini, you're not the only one. Looks like everyone here in this group and the previous 2 groups we got together for the same book say the same thing. It was the prodding and the parent figure who kind of made all the children write and contribute to this book. Looks like, Rupali, looks like you are the person who ensured everybody made time and had something or the other to write about themselves. Is
right.
that right?
So that is the beginning. I think my writing came out of some cloistered archives. And I think I had some publications earlier on, but after that, anthology started, and I think Meenakshi Mohan, who's my husband's cousin too. So with her, like of recent publications, happened, with the tapestry. And there were many anthologies that came my way, and that sort of, gave me a little more incentive to write. Though And it's been very therapeutic. You know, I lost my husband last year. And
So sorry
through
for your
that,
loss.
I know, Rupa. So it's been a journey, you know, where I think writing has become totally therapeutic for me. And it's the one thing which I now feel that, you know, when I'm immersed in it and I feel that, you know, time has gone by and I'm very happy for that. Yes, I've just completed my mother's translation of one of her books called Samanantar Sune. So that book is complete. I'm trying to thank you so much, Rupa. And yes, we have a launch on the 29th, and hopefully online launch is a little later. And
We look
I
forward
am
to the book
currently
launch of
working.
your mother's anthology translated by you. And we look forward to many more books from you, Shalini.
Yes, I am almost in the end of another book of translations, and yes, trying to collate my own poems because they're all hither and thither, and you know, lost a lot of poems also because never bothered to keep them. But yes, it's on the cards to do that, and I hope that the writing is going to seems like it's going to stay because it's become an extension of me. I feel that. It's all, I feel that I really don't write myself. I feel that I sit with a pen and paper, and it's from some source that the words come and it gets written. That's how I see my poems. I always feel that it's something, you know, which, and I think that it's the more so because I never wrote in Hindi, and I find that when I started to write in Hindi, I don't much keep up with reading. But I feel that words cascade, and I said, oh my gosh, from where are these words coming? So,
Shalini, we love the fact that you're doing so many things despite the setbacks in life. We pray, we wish you the very best for every undertaking you have ahead of you. We look forward to the 29th launch. And we want to thank you for your time and sharing your insights. We want everyone to read what you have written, the two stories, one about your mother, one about yourself. And Roopali, before you share Kavita Nissim Eizkehal story, the daughter of Nissim Eizkehal, I want to also bring in Kumar Prasanna for a moment. Kumar Prasanna, please show your face. The man behind the fertile brains, the man who likes to hide his face all the time, and the man who is the one who coordinates and makes sure that we all are here in time and there are no glitches. Are you there, Kumar, or hiding as always? Yeah, looks like he's hiding. So, Roopali, over to you, and Shalini, thank you.
thank you, Rupa. Thank you so very much. Thank you, Bali, and all these wonderful, very inspirational, very accomplished ladies whom I've met today. I'm honored to be here, and absolutely wonderful to meet everyone.
Thank you so much, Shalini. And Rupa, I have decided not to read out from, I just informed Kavitha Eizkehal that the next episode she can herself personally be here and
Okay.
do it instead of my doing it and making it mess of it. And, you know, we also taken up a lot of time.
Right.
I would definitely like to say that, you know, this book came out of you know, a whole lot of slogans that I keep seeing at the back of buses and tempos saying that Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. You know, every time I read that Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, I used to wonder what happened. Nobody tried to bachao us, but our parents really tried to padhao us, you know. They did make an effort to teach us. And I wanted that, you know, that thank you to our parents, you know, a generation that was themselves educated. Sometimes they were not, but they wanted their daughters to be educated. And even now, and what is very important for me is that it is not a story of the past, it's a story of what people are still doing. You know, they're still writing, they're still, you know, presenting at conferences and seminars, writing research papers, taking part in theater, and that's very important. So I think today, Rupa, thank you so much. You've done such a great job for the evening. You can conclude the program. It's already 10:20.
Thank you so much, Roopali. And I want to say 70 Carats is not just a book. These are the pieces of lives of women who have actually shared their tears, their soul, their triumphs, their pain, so that these stories have become aspirational for not only today's generation, but future generations to look into themselves, their past, their present, and look at what they can do with their lives. We thank each one of you panelists, Shalini, Saroja, Roopali, of course, you, Malashree, Sunil, who could not be here, Kavita, who could not be seen, and the Kavita Eizkehal, who could not be here. Thank you to each one of you for being here. And Roopali, thank you for making this happen with Pushpa. Prasanna,
Yes,
you are
Pushpa is
here.
very
Can you come
important.
on the screen for a second, please?